With AI and deepfakes, are we now entering an era where your face, your biometrics aren't the actual proof that security protocols need? We bring to you a story that marks a dangerous turning point in our digital lives, because for years we've been told that our Aadhaar biometrics and one-time passwords are the ultimate shields for our bank accounts. But a chilling case from Ahmedabad has proven that these shields are no longer invincible. A businessman in Ahmedabad's Thaltej area thought his digital life was safe. Then one day, in early April this year, he stopped receiving OTPs from his bank. That small alert turned into a big shock because someone had changed the mobile number linked to his Aadhaar without his knowledge. Using that access, fraudsters entered his DigiLocker, misused his eKYC details across banks, and took a loan of at least 25,000 rupees in his name. The Ahmedabad Police Cybercrime Branch acted quickly. Around April 10th, the case was registered. By late April, they arrested 4 men. The police say the gang used a mix of old tricks and new technology. They got access through common service centers, changed the victim's Aadhaar-linked mobile number, and diverted OTPs. But the most worrying part was how they handled the biometric check. Because the accused created AI-generated deepfake videos. That's right. These videos, reportedly made with tools like Gemini, showed realistic eye blinks and movements. They used these videos to fool the liveness detection in Aadhaar's facial verification system. This allowed them to bypass biometric safeguards that most people trust. No SIM swap was needed. They gained full control over the victim's digital identity. One of the arrested persons had been involved in a fake Aadhaar case earlier as well. And the police recovered Aadhaar update kits and other tools from them. This entire case, it shows how Aadhaar, your DigiLocker, the banking systems built for easy and secure access can be turned against citizens when weaknesses are exploited. Across the country, cyber frauds are rising fast. In recent years, authorities have recorded thousands of cases with losses running into hundreds of crores. Phishing and social engineering still lead the way, but new methods involving malware, SIM swapping, and now AI deepfakes, they're growing as well. Many victims are ordinary people who use Aadhaar-linked services for loans, for banking services, for government schemes, and gaps in enforcement and awareness, especially outside the big cities, make the problem bigger. Take a look at this, the big question that we're trying to understand. If artificial intelligence can now bypass liveness checks and biometric scans, is the current Aadhaar-linked security model officially obsolete? How were individuals with prior criminal records for Aadhaar forgery able to gain or maintain access to sensitive systems time and again? And with AI-powered fraud becoming a reality, who bears the liability? The victim, the bank, or the technology providers whose tools were misused? Kanish Gaur, cybersecurity expert, an artificial intelligence expert, also with us on the broadcast. Femin John James, founder, AI both with us on the broadcast. Kanish, let's get the snowball rolling here. We're entering an era where our face, our biometrics are no longer our proof. We move from OTP fraud to deepfake identity theft. How big is this shift in cybercrime capability?
See, I have worked on Aadhaar security, so it is not just AI deepfake which is there. Aadhaar has partner ecosystem, which is AUA, KUA, and ASAs. ASA are the telecom service providers, and then you've got the AUA and the KUA, and then you've got these common service centers. The common service centers take biometric from people and validate their OTP and PIN. So there is 2 levels of verification. One is taking either your biometric or taking your facial recognition. The third part is getting the OTP. Now, this is involvement of people running the common service center. So it is not just a AI generated scam. There is involvement of these people who run these common service centers. And this is a common problem where someone would have been an insider who would have been bribed for changing the biometric associated with this person and ensuring that the OTP does not land on that particular number and it lands on another number. So it is an insider fraud. It is not possible to change the Aadhaar biometric like that way. Most of the time, people give away their Aadhaar cards, and this is insider fraud as well.
So if this is insider fraud, Kanishk, and if this is just the beginning, because we're on the advent of AI and what all AI can really do, the good, the bad, the ugly, what does the next 2 to 3 years of AI-enabled fraud really look like?
See, AI-enabled fraud would require new methods for security verification. So far, it has been biometric, retina scan, which have been the techniques which have been used, right? So you will have to build out new mechanisms for validating or verifying people. Now, this could be having additional layers on detecting deepfakes. Whenever you have deepfakes created, there are unique signals through which you can validate what is the propensity of that particular image or video to be a deepfake. So you will have to have deeper signal analysis to validate whether that image is an actual image or a false image. So better security with respect to biometric facial recognition has to be used, and you might have to add additional layer. Additional layer could be voice-based control. Additional layer could be a DNA mapping of that person. It could be another control with respect to using uh, a secret pin. Now, what the world is moved today is encrypted messaging. Now, these encrypted messaging are typically encrypted that it could only be decrypted by the sender or the receiver. So today in the developed world, everyone has moved to blockchain-based authentication. So blockchain-based authentication have techniques where the message itself is authenticated and it is secured through a blockchain-based principle. So India will have to move up to new methods of validating and
You're absolutely right. Let me take that exact question to Febin John James. As a founder of an AI company, Febin, can regulation realistically, and take a look at what all Kanishk has essentially said, can regulation realistically keep pace with the AI development? We've been talking about jobs, we've been talking about the advent of all of this good tech, but hey man, fraud's going to happen as well. So can regulation really keep pace?
I think we can, and I think the technology which we have right now is falling up behind. Like for example, take your iPhone, which has a 3D map scanner for your facial recognition, whereas we have just camera scans which kind of match your face with a predefined image which has been taken, right? So in that way, we have the tech already, and we just have to catch up with it. So basically coming back and saying that there's technology out already which other hasn't implemented. Second, like Kanish said, here the most important part is that there was an insider fraud happened which changed the mobile number, which comes as an additional security. So if that hadn't happened, then your biometric would have been locked and you would have been safe here. And that was the most simplest way to kind of like avoid it. And having said that, coming back to the simplest way to avoid it was having more regulated check inside CEC, which was the most easiest way. But the second part, which is more harder part, is to upgrade your authentication tech. So these are two things which could have prevented us from this, incident.
A lot of learning lessons over here as well. Kanishk, we know that it's quite easy today for criminals to create a usable deep fake using publicly available photographs. But are we prepared with the tools to detect these deep fakes in real time? If yes, what are they? If no, then how soon can we, really expect them? Are we already behind the curve on this particular front?
The tech is available. It's only about commercializing that tech. India, we have to commercialize that tech.
That means it's going to come at a cost.
It is come at a cost. The cost has to be absorbed by someone. Either it is going to be government, either it is going to be the venture capitalists who fund these technologies, or it is going to be large companies like Jio, Airtel, or any of the internet service providing companies which are in this space. Because the technology is not difficult to develop. It is only about how you can make it at ease. It could also be the government through public-private partnerships. We have seen initiatives like UPI, DigiLocker in the past, but how can you make it at scale that it could be used by a large democracy like India, where you
away with the Aadhaar, our over dependence on the Aadhaar, do you think this is an isolated breach, and how vulnerable is the current KYC system that we're all dealing with at scale across the country?
See, the Supreme Court has already stopped the overutilizing of Aadhaar.
Yeah.
It is no use for other purposes. It is only used for verification validation right now. The only thing is that the Aadhaar stack, you'll have to build out additional security measures, or you also have to look at supply chain security of Aadhaar, because the AUA, KUA, or the common service center, you would find people who are moles who would take money and then sell away people's identity. So that layer needs to be safeguarded. Now, Aadhaar already follows the Aadhaar Act, through which you can arrest such people. And there's an IPS officer within UIDAIs whose job is to arrest such scamsters and frauds from happening. What you require today is a proactive monitoring solution so that you can detect these before they happen at an early stage, At the same time, you require better security controls, moving away from traditional security to more enhanced security, like I mentioned about blockchain-based security. Sooner there could be quantum-based security controls which could be applied. There is another control which is now used by companies like Microsoft, Meta, is the authenticator, where you get a OTP which is valid for a specific period of time, after which it is not valid. And that is also enabled and linked through your biometric or your facial recognition. And then you get the OTP-based PIN, and which can only be accessed by the person who is on that device. So that could be configured. So it is up to Aadhaar what kind of additional security controls they want to deploy. But with artificial intelligence, machine learning, deepfakes, impersonations happening, and voice-based frauds happening, it is important that you have more security controls deployed with Aadhaar, because it is used at such a large scale. So it's only that the technology has to be built up, it has to be scaled.
And I think the banking and the security systems need to pull up their socks as well, needless to say. You know, both of you gentlemen, you understand artificial intelligence way better than the common folk out there. Febin, you know, in simple terms, how can an average Indian out there protect their bank account today? I mean, there was no OTP, no SIM swap, and the money continuously gets drained. What are some tips and techniques that you'd like to, you know, advertise here on national television?
Sure, and first and the foremost thing is that lock your other biometric, and that is the a common thing which even the other has already communicated, and that is the first thing. And it will create a hassle when you go there to do something and you have to unlock it. So that's a hassle, but you have to deal with it. Security comes with the personal cost of inconvenience. That's the first thing. The second thing would be to continuously monitor your Aadhaar OTP, and in this case the red flag was not getting an OTP at time, right? And I think this is for a common folk, it's much difficult to do that. Hey, I have to monitor my messages all the time, but we are at that inconvenience right now. These two are the primary things which you can do to kind of prevent from this, but more security measures needs to come from the government and from the banks to help a common man from being protected.
All right. It seems like from fingerprints to facial recognition, we believe technology was making us safer, but hey, let's not be that naive. With the good comes the bad and the ugly as well. Tonight the question is, has it made criminals smarter and faster than the systems that respond to those criminal activities? That's the big question. But many thanks to both of you. Febin, always a pleasure to have you with us. Kanishk, you've put into perspective what all is available out there. Of course, do we have the wherewithal to now incorporate all of that? That's another bigger question. Many thanks for joining us, gentlemen, on this particular note. Well, we're going to leave you with that. No OTP seems to be no problem for those criminals out there. So next time, you stop getting OTPs, don't think that that's a blessing in disguise for it's not filling your inbox. You can always dial up the bank, and you need to be on top of the game. If the AI is helping us, well, it's helping the criminals out there as well. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of In Your Interest. We'll catch you again tomorrow. Many thanks for watching.
बेबो का एक ही रूल, रोज खाओ अंडे without भूल.
Cause eggs are cool, cool, cool. Yes, eggs are cool, cool, cool. Summer में energy हो जाती है कम. खाओ अंडे, energetic रहो हरदम. Strength और power मिले हर रोज with proteins and minerals का daily dose. Eggs are cool.